I'm Haley Lynn, and I live in New Mexico, but I'm originally from Texas. I'm a patient myself. Well, I was diagnosed in 2010. I guess like 2 years into my diagnosis, kind of started digging online and then found the PH communities. I started my blog, and so that's how I really got involved and connected with people as I was writing. I had my first, I guess, the onset symptoms in a gym class in sixth grade. So I was 11 years old. And after that, kind of what I thought was an asthma attack, I had symptoms for 7 years after. And it got so bad by my senior year in high school, I was 17 and could not walk up a flight of stairs. I was passing out all the time. And that's when my dad was like, yeah, there was something wrong. And so I celebrated my 18th birthday, and 2 weeks later, I was finally diagnosed. My dad hadn't really seen exactly what was going on because it was mainly happening at school when I was having to climb all these stairs and get to class and be in a rush and whatnot. And finally, we were hanging out one day, and we had to park in a parking lot and walk into this huge store. And by the time I got barely into the entrance of the store, I had to sit down. And my dad's a paramedic, so he was taking my heart rate and listening to me. And he was just like, something that really showed him that I'm not able to breathe at all. And so that's what kind of did him in. So I guess that was the final. I don't know. that kind of sent him over the edge, seeing that for the first time. For him to see that, he was just flabbergasted. I mean, he thought for sure that's when we needed to go see a doctor. He got me into a cardiologist immediately, which was actually a fight. They weren't actually going to take me at first because I wasn't 18, and they were like, no. I was about to turn 18, and they were like, that's too young. She needs to go see a regular doctor. Like, she doesn't need to come to cardiology. And my dad fought it, and we got in, and the first thing that kind of showed them like something was way wrong was my EKG, and then an oxygen saturation. I think it was sitting at 83, if I remember correctly. So that was when the cardiologist was like, oh my gosh, something's majorly wrong. Actually, when the doctor did say that, and he was like, something's very wrong with you. And I was like, finally, like I just smiled because this had been going on for so long, and my parents had thought it was asthma, and I would go to the doctors and they would say it's just asthma. But I was like, how does any of these other people that I've met with asthma, how do they walk around every day and not be in this much pain? I don't get it. They're fine with these inhalers and stuff, and it wasn't working for me. So it was a sense of relief just for the first, I don't know, couple months, because it was like, oh, finally, like I'm going to be getting to feel better, hopefully. And, that initial, like, I don't know. I was legitimately okay with knowing something was wrong. Finally, about 2 years later, that's when I like started feeling okay and adjusting to a new normal. And so that's when I had created my blog. And I kind of was, I guess you could say, like the denial phase. That was kind of part of it. I was already having to make adjustments in my life. I wanted it to take up the smallest amount of time. I didn't want to be involved. I didn't want anybody to really know I had it. I was just trying to take my pills and go about my business and move along with normal life. And then you end up, it ends up leaking out into your normal life, and you just kind of have to be like, okay, it's here. I need to acknowledge it. And, if I want to write about it or I want to talk to other people, it's okay. It's not going to permeate this, idea of what normal is. It's life. I had always been a writer, and I actually hadn't written in a very long time. I hadn't been writing at all. And I just kind of wanted to tell people like what it was. My first couple articles or whatever that I wrote on my blogs, I guess. The first couple were just like things that I do in spite of PH, or like how to cover up your swollen ankles or things like that, that, I don't know. It was very like, this is kind of what my life entails and, what I do every day or whatever. And it also very therapeutic to be able to put thoughts that I'd had for going on 2 years now, actually write them out. And it gave me something to write about, which was another awesome thing. I had a lot of people reach out, actually. through email and whatnot, and commenting on the blog, and meeting people, other people with PH, meeting people with all sorts of rare diseases, because sometimes when I wrote, I tried not to make it so PH. I tried to keep it very broad of, this is my disease, but if this, I don't know, I tried to keep it very broad. So I met a lot of different people with different things going on. And then, of course, a lot of PH people. And then it was very cool, though, to actually meet other people. It was like, wow, people are actually reading this. Like, I don't know. It was insane. But the responses were great, absolutely. So overwhelming sometimes, but great. And you're hearing all these people's stories, and it does get exhausting. It's like, wow, so many people are suffering from this. It's insane. And you just, I don't know, you get to know people's personal stories, and it's just like good. I don't know. It's overwhelming in a very good way sometimes, Definitely have a lot of connections with females my own age. Yeah, there are some great girls, other writers, poets, artists. I mean, it's insane the amount of people I met that are around my age, and just, I don't know, just being able to actually discuss like issues that are, in our age category, that are affecting us currently. It's kind of mind blowing. It's a relief that somebody else is. I don't know. It's horrible, but it is a relief that somebody else kind of knows what you're currently dealing with because of the phase you're in. And then a lot of older female friends that are like moms. Oh my God, that are absolutely fabulous, that are living with this disease and they've had kids. And I just think that's amazing in itself. Of course, a lot of kiddos and their parents. That's another great connection that I've made. And, it's kind of like, I don't know, I definitely feel like kind of a teacher-ish, that's my teacher vibe coming out, but being able to meet these kiddos that have PH and then being friends with their parents too, I don't know, that's really cool. I wrote for so many years about dealing with a invisible illness and being able to tuck it away, and now it's very much turning itself inside out. Now I have a tube and a little pump everywhere I go, and if I wear a V-neck, people can see my Hickman line and are asking questions. I mean, so it's very much so. Now it's becoming an external illness too. I don't know. So getting used to that and mixing, and I mean, it's intense, but yeah, getting used to that change of now it's kind of on the outside of me. You don't have that ability to be like, oh, I'm fine, and you don't have to explain. Nobody asks, but now it's here, and I don't know. It's been an adjustment ever since I got out of the hospital. So I'm going a little over a month now, so it's definitely brand new. I'm learning more about like the phases of like chronic illness and crisis and how much we go in and out of them, and my writing has kind of been proof of that. I mean, I look back and at one point I was so up and I felt great and very positive and, very, I don't know, okay with my disease. And now I can watch my writing and I can see the roller coaster come back down, and I'm going back into like a crisis phase or or an angry phase. And so, I mean, I've definitely been able to see, I never thought, stages of grief and all that. I mean, I'm just like, whatever, I've taken psychology and studied all that. But to be able to like see yourself go through it, the evidence is so there since I put it all out, and so learning that, being able to know when I'm coming up on a phase or know what I'm dealing with. I don't know. That's what I've really learned about myself, is that the stages of dealing with the chronic illness, the mental battles are very real. And I am that kind of a person where I think people need to see that, and that's something else that I've learned through my own writing, is how important mental illness is to me dealing with the chronic illness. I think it's just so, I can't get over it. And so that, I really didn't think that'd be my focus. I had never even thought about it. And through writing and through years of putting my writing down and being able to see my patterns, it's amazing, like how much I've turned my focus to mental illness and how it impacts my writing and what phases we go through, and that they're very real. and they impact us. So I don't know. That's definitely something I've learned about myself, is how important that is to me. I'm Haley Lynn, and I'm aware that I'm rare.